Good evening, all. Good evening, good evening. Audio check, looks good. Glad to see you. Hope you got your coffee. This is another Coffee with the Cowbell. Right. I am your host with the most, Ricardo Wilkins, resident Teams geek. Here to chat it up with you about teams. You're here, I'm here, we're here together at 9 o'clock Eastern. So if you're on the East Coast, I know you're fanatical because you're up late. If you're West Coast, you're probably fanatical, but not quite as much because it's only 6 o'clock. But I might be keeping you from dinner, so that makes you a little fanatical too. In either case, I'm glad you're here. Let's chat it up. And in fact, as always seems to be the case, there's always stuff that happens to me during the week that gives me something to talk about here on Coffee with the Cowbell. And so, let me switch over here. Yeah. So, obviously I'm trying to monitor the chat. I see my buddy Dan in the chat. How you doing? Anybody else shows up or put something in the chat, I will try my best to monitor that for questions, comments. Hey, can you show me X? Anything like that. In the meantime, though, I did want to show something that just happened to me. It was either yesterday or maybe the day before. So I'm in my environment here. So this concept of being in a meeting and bringing someone else in, and I know that's maybe that seems simple to some. If you're a Teams expert, that's pretty simple. But let's just talk about it anyway, right? Let's go through the steps here, because I thought the way that I brought in someone earlier, which I'm about to show, I thought was kind of interesting. And when I was doing it, in my mind, I was thinking, yes, this is much better than, let's say, a phone call, a phone bridge, bringing someone in. So you tell me what you think. We'll just kind of go through this. So let's get a call started. So I could do meet now here, but let's get a meeting. Let's get a meet now right here going. Okay. And let's get it started here. So we'll join now. All right. So let's use our imagination. Well, first, let me get another user going here. Let's bring up Nestor. A good old buddy Nestor. Everybody knows Nestor. And we'll get him going with Teams as well. Nestor's going to be the one that I want to bring in. So let's use our imagination, and let's say that we're in a meeting, and say there's other people here, right? I'm in here by myself, but let's say there's other people, and I'm basically trying to reenact the actual real life scenario that I had. We're all in a meeting, we're doing some work, and realize we need the help or expertise of, in this case, Nestor. We need Nestor with his login or whatever to do X, Y, and Z for us. Can we bring him in? The whole room's asking, hey, can we get Nestor in here? So one way to do it, which is not the way I did it in my real life scenario, well, one way to do it is what I call brute force. Okay, I can go right here to invite someone, and I can type Nestor. Okay, and I can hit request to join. And in fact, let's do it. I request to join, and it's calling Nestor. And it tried. Let me make sure. Oops, what did I do there? Make sure Nestor's he's in. Let's try that again. Is this the right Nestor? This is yeah, that's why that didn't work. I got the wrong Nestor here. No worries, I can fix that. I might need that's the wrong Nestor. Let's do the admin in this case. I would have done Nestor, but the admin is closer to me here, so give me a sec. Nope, I don't want that. Teams. Let's go here. I just want to get where it's, so I was thinking about it. All right. And why do I have my tabs up top? I'm a vertical tabs person, as we all should be. So I'll fix that. Move that over. So I got my administrator in. So not Nestor anymore. Let's say it's the administrator. Okay. So mod administrator. Again, this is the brute force approach. Request to join. It's calling this, calling the administrator. You can see there, no matter what the administrator, happen to be doing, I'm getting this call, even if I'm busy, to accept or decline. Right. And the reason it's kind of brute force is because I really, the administrator really could be busy and not really ready to take this call. And on my end, I didn't really do anything to check whether the administrator user here was busy or not. Brute force, I called you, whether you're busy or not. And if it, the thing we're trying to do is important enough, then that totally makes sense. And so the good part is that it is easy to do that, I guess. Depends on your perspective, but it's good. It is good that it's easy to bring someone in by, and in case you didn't see how I did that, the people tab. You see it's still trying to call in, by the way. Now it's finally given up. The people tab will have the invite box ready to go. Given that the administrators in my org, it's very easy to just type them up and hit the request to join. So that's good, right? Anybody I need to bring in my org, few clicks, and I can do that. In fact, this is also another good place to actually, if you've ever been in a meeting with, let's say 50 people, right, where the list is long, you don't know who's in, and you're wondering who's in the meeting and who's not, typing their name here will actually tell you, just as it did with the administrator, whether they're in this meeting or not, as opposed to you scrolling through the list trying to find the person. I do that often. Here's this big 200-person meeting. Is my team, are my team members in the meeting? Use that to find that out. So that was a little sidetrack there. So that's brute force. It certainly works, but it's not very sensitive to the schedule or needs of the user I'm bringing in. So if we don't go brute force, so we got administrator sitting over here. Let's assume they're busy. All right. Then the more subtle approach is for me to come into Teams chat. In this case, I happen to already have an administrator chat there going, but I would look for the person up in the search box, find them, open their chat. If it was a brand new person, this would be empty, and then I would ask them, can you join this meeting? Right now, and so hopefully you see that there, right? And you can see it's so I got that in there. Now, in the real life scenario I had, the person I was trying to bring in was actually an external person, and I still did it this way. You may have experienced that if the federation is set correctly on the two orgs, I can find someone externally here as easily as I can an internal person. And in this real world scenario, that's what I did. I searched for this external person. It found them. They came up in chat just as, as fluid as this one. And I asked the question, essentially, can you join this meeting? Now, what I also did, though, before I even got a response from the administrator, I gave them the link to the meeting, because we're trying to get them in as fast as possible. I don't want any barriers. How do I do that? Back in the meeting, you can go to your three dots here for more on the more area and meeting info. And I could have come here as well to copy the whole thing here. I could have done this scenario could have been done half dozen ways, but I could have easily hit the copy join info, copy that to clipboard, come over here and paste it. That would have worked too. I'm just I like to be elegant. That's a lot going on. And so I didn't do that approach. What I did was came over here, and just all I needed was this link. So I probably could have highlighted it and copied it, but I think I right-clicked and did a copy link. All right, so right-click, copy link. I came over here, typed join meeting, highlight it, Control K, or hit the or hit the format button and use the insert link there. But in my case, I did a shortcut, Control K, Control V to paste that link in. I X'd out of the little thumbnail there and popped it in that way. So from the administrator's perspective, they get a text from me, and I did actually mention them at the beginning too, make sure they saw it. Can you join this meeting? And if they can, a very convenient link for them to get at it. So if I go over to the administrator here, over to chat, I'll just go to chat here. Let's make this a little bigger. So there's the question and there's the link. If I am available, which in this case the person was, just click the join meeting, join now, and they were in just that easily. So go back here, you can see administrators now in the meeting. What I liked about that, if that was a phone call, then it's about giving them the phone number plus probably a passcode. And so from their perspective, if I go back to their let's get them out of here and go back to their Teams area. Imagine this was chat. I'm asking them to join, and I'm giving them a phone number and a passcode. So now, what do they have to do? They're either, picking up a real life phone, dialing the number, all that good stuff, waiting for the passcode part. If they're lucky to have phone system, they could click the number, have Teams call the number, all that good stuff. Still probably need the passcode. If they were thinking about it, they would say, sure, pull me in, right? Now, my way meant that they, in real life, it happened that they got in the meeting. We didn't even have to have any further chat. I put enough in there that there was no chat needed. In fact, they only responded to say, I'm in, which I could already see. So this person doesn't even have to type the words, yeah, pull me in, or yeah, I'm available. They just click the link. So yeah, but they could say pull me in, then that means I go back here and do the brute force, which isn't at this time as brute a force because I got permission. But again, all those other options seem to me like a lot more steps. I try to be as elegant as I can with my use of Teams, and so I like this approach. But again, the other part of this, as you can see here, is that this approach gave me an opportunity to check the presence or the busyness of the person. So they're red, and I think the person was red in my scenario, but we really needed them, and so I still did this approach. But given that they're red, you might tailor your approach or your ask a little differently. If they're, in this case, in a call, right? I probably wouldn't really ask them to join at all, right? That's why I love the presence info, right? Busy is one thing. That means I'm not necessarily in a meeting, but I am busy and working. But in a meeting or in a call, especially in a call, they're really busy, right? In my opinion, it'd have to be a really important thing for me to ask them to put their call on hold and jump over. That'd really need to be an emergency kind of thing. But the presence indicator would let me know what's going on there and let me decide whether to continue, how to tailor my message. And of course, if they're green, then that's going to be an easier message. And if they're green, and depending on my relationship with them, how friendly we are, then if they're green, I might go with the brute force approach. And then the other presence is presenting. Well, before I do that, focusing would be another one. Again, depending on how important the call is I'm trying to bring in. I try to respect focusing. I might want to leave them alone, but if it's important, I would ask. I think what it would have to be super important though, if they were presenting. Okay, that tells me not only, like in a call could be, I'm in a call listening, lurking as I'd like to call it. I'm not talking, nobody's asking me to participate, I'm just in a part of a meeting. Presenting though suggests that whole meeting that person in, everybody's listening to them at this time. I would not want to interrupt them. In fact, it might be a little hard to, because I believe Windows really starts blocking notifications and whatnot when you're presenting. But I would not want to interrupt someone that is sharing their screen or is probably talking, at that moment. So it would have to be a super emergency for me to try to interrupt someone who's in presenting, busy mode. And again, another reason why brute force isn't necessarily best, because again, you just don't know what that other person's doing at the time. And of course, they can just ignore the call, but again, you just never know. So again, as that came up, it just made me think about all these little nuances of bringing someone in. And again, the two big ones being finding out if that person's busy, first by automation, and second by then talking to them, and then if they're not busy, bringing them in. Now, if that was a channel meeting and I was trying to bring another channel member into the team, that would be an interesting scenario as well. So let's get out of this here. And let's find me a channel meeting like the coffee test one. So let's jump into this meeting. Actually, okay, that's fine. I jumped in as the administrator. And let's assume other people were in here. And if I come back to Teams, you can see, so there's my call there, and there is the channel meeting. Everyone in a channel can see that it's going on. What I might do here, if I'm trying to bring another channel member in, is let me make sure this person is okay. So I can see from that this is where the channel meeting is occurring. So let me go here. I'll come back, and if I wanted, I'm the administrator here. If I wanted to bring in Ricardo, I might do, @ Ricardo. Can you join us? And the reason I do that, so you see I got the mention there. I think I would do that just to make sure the person know. It would make it a little more obvious to the person that it's a channel meeting there, because they're gonna get that. They're gonna get that alert. It's gonna bring them here, and they'll kind of see what's going on. So as opposed to some random meeting, this is a meeting right within my team area, and then they would just click join and they would be in. And so, in fact, with that approach, I don't have to, as you saw before, grab meeting info along with my message. I just say, can you join? Hopefully it's obvious when that person gets here that I'm asking them to join this meeting that this thread is in. And in one click, they're in. So that meeting channel scenario would be even more elegant, in my opinion. What I didn't do there, though, was check presence and whatnot, but I could have, as soon as I did the @mention, right, I could see the presence there as well. All right. That also just lets everybody else kind of know that this meeting's going on and we're trying to get Ricardo in there and all that good stuff. All right. So that's kind of, to me, that's Teams etiquette. How do you get people involved without being pushy, without interrupting people's work? Because that is costly. If I'm heads down in something and get interrupted, I think they write whole articles about the cost of trying to get back to what you were doing. So again, in my opinion, it should be important, and you should take an approach that works well for that person. Okay. So I just thought I'd share that, because again, that happened this week, and it was interesting to me. So I don't know if you've got any stories about that kind of meeting etiquette and bringing someone in. Since we're talking about that, the other scenario here, let's go open that meeting again. Let's go meet now. Start the meeting. Because you may ask, well, what are some other ways to bring them in? If I go here to meeting info, we can see that this meeting includes audio conferencing, meaning a dial-in number that someone can use to get in this meeting. Which means that if I wanted to bring someone in, you can see this says invite someone or dial a number. So I could dial the number of someone as another way of bringing them in. What I'm essentially doing is, some people confuse this with, oh, I must have a phone system. I must be able to use this box to make calls all day to people. And it's not really that. This isn't, technically, could I, call and order a pizza from the local pizza shop this way? Technically, yes, but I'd be bringing them into a Teams meeting through audio conferencing in order to order that pizza. They wouldn't. Would they be aware? Trying to remember what the experience of getting that call. Whether they'd be aware. I feel like they would be aware. Anyway, that'd be weird, So this isn't a substitute for a way to have a phone system in Teams. And in fact, on the back end, you're using audio conferencing minutes instead of phone minutes, and so it would just be weird. But what this is doing is you can bring someone in. It'd be the equivalent of them joining the meeting by dialing the audio conferencing bridge and coming in themselves. You're essentially kind of dialing it for them and bringing them in. So this could be another way to do it. I guess you would do this for someone who you already know is more prone to dialing in, or than joining the full client meeting, or maybe they're away from their computer or something like that. So didn't want to overlook the fact that this invite piece is both an invite of an internal person very easily, as well as dialing a number to call them and bring them in. And then, of course, the share invite button would be another way. So that might be maybe that's a more convenient way than the approach I took. So I hit share invite, copy link, it's copied to the clipboard. The other way that I did that is probably one more extra click that was more meeting info and then copy join info, but same, the end result is the same. But this would be another way to get someone in. Now, this means I'm copying the join info probably to put it in an email message, maybe a chat, but probably an email message is if I'm copying all the info. What isn't easy with this approach, given how big the URL for Teams meetings are, this wouldn't be a good approach for text messaging. I feel like have I seen I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I remember something on the roadmap about shortening Teams links for that very reason, but I can't recall at the moment. But that would be the other way to bring someone in, copying the join info meeting and then getting that to them somehow. So we basically went through at least 4 ways to bring a person in, only one of which is kind of sensitive to their busyness by, first checking to see, what their presence is before proceeding to bring them in. So if you want to be respectful of people's time, you probably want to use one of those approaches that involves chat or involves a message that says, hey, can you join, as opposed to the other approaches, which just calls them right in. And again, your results may vary, but just depends on your relationship with that person, right? Maybe you two have the kind of relationship where you can call them up anytime, day or night, and it's all good. So good for you. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Thanks for hanging with me for about a half hour. Always trying to just come with little tidbits, right? This isn't the kind of topic that gets that tends to get I don't know if somebody wrote a whole document on this kind of thing, but this is just the little nuances of just living that Teams life. All right, so just thought that might be helpful. So again, thanks for joining me with your decaf coffee. Don't stay up too late. And I'll see you next time. Coffee with the Cowbell.